Hello, hello everyone. It's Miriam here at the Paper Wheel Studio. Welcome back to my craft room. Today I'm participating in both the 100-day project and also the Miriam. The collaboration, the ABC collaboration. How can I forget the name of that? My mind went totally blank there for a minute. So I am participating in that with Seven Plaza and Margaret from Seven Plaza and Tony from Crafting by Tony. There are many, many, many creators. So if you would use the hashtag ABC April 2025, and it is on my thumbnail at the beginning of my video, so you will see it there. That will pull up all the little videos for you, and with today being in, my plan is to do no-sew neutral notebooks. I'm using mostly neutral patterns and some of the Tim Holtz pieces. So that will work out. Sorry about that. Didn't realize that was going to come up there in my background. But as soon as it hushes, we'll get started here. All right. So, somebody's probably done these things. I've seen very similar. This is my take on it. I believe Tony did some notebooks with tabs. And I'm going to do something kind of similar. I'm just making sure I got my tabs over here on the side, because I seem to have misplaced one since I started my video. I just love it when I lay things out and end up losing them before I get very far. I don't even get into the video and it gets lost. So while I'm talking to you, I will look for my little runaway tab over here. I have scissors. You will need brads to make these. Various papers, and I've already cut many of mine, and I will show you the fronts that I have here from the Tim Holtz papers that would work. And that little tab is just totally, completely vanished from the face of the earth. I had stuff all prepared for this video, and I went away for a few days, came back. My stuff, nobody comes in my craft room. Absolutely nobody. And I have no clue where that went. So I had to start over today and prepared everything again. And you watch when this video gets posted, that little bag that I had all my goodies in for my video, it's going to reappear. I'm looking to see if maybe I stuck that little tiny tab back in here, because it is just totally gone, and no, it's not here. So I'm just going to play around. I might even pull in one of these tabs with numbers. I'm using numbers to decorate my little notebooks. So I have some stencils with me, and I also have some numbered stickers to use as well. All right. Couldn't find the little tab, but it might reappear here in the middle of my video. Golly, Miriam. One of these days, I'll come on here and you guys won't even recognize that it's me, because I'll have everything organized and ready to go, but don't hold your breath. So, anyway, it's not even in my lap. It's hard to tell where it ended up, so we'll do with what we have. All right, so I pulled out, let me show you my pieces, because I have these stacked up. They are all different sizes, so I need to kind of keep them somewhat in order. I have these pieces. Well, that's all together there, so that's good. I have these pieces from Tim Holtz Ephemera, and sometimes I struggle with what to make from them. And we don't need that piece in there. And we have even this piece couple of these. So, show you what I'm going to do here. We are going to turn these into little notebooks. I've already got all the papers cut, but I will show you how I prepared these so that you can, you'll be able to get yours ready as well. I'm going to lay this one and these two little green ones aside. I'm hoping it doesn't take us a long time on these because I'm hoping to get 5 of them done on video today. We'll see, right? I also have a stencil that I picked up. The stencil was called, I got this on Temu and it said Morse code, but excuse me, it's just all covered in numbers. So I brought it along and I plan to use it perhaps on my spines for these little notebooks. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going to take one of my covers and a little packet of papers. What I did with my papers on this one, I had a heavier piece of, I believe this was a little folio bag. And I'm going to go ahead, I just noticed this had these pieces at the top and bottom. And so they don't get in my way, I'm just going to pull them off here. I don't care if it looks tattered because it kind of adds to the vintagey look to the notebooks. And I'll show you how I cut it just as soon as I get, yeah, there we go. Get this part peeled off here. Didn't even know it was on there. This video might be a bit longer than some of the others I've done, but if we get 5 little notebooks done, I know I'll be happy. And you will get a chance to see a couple different ways that you can do these. Okay. You might also, which I didn't consider, and I've got some right here in front of me, is bring along a paper clip or two, because those will help hold your papers together. We're not going to sew these like you would a signature, so it really doesn't matter when you're putting your papers in them. They do not have to be folded in the middle. The only one that I have folded here is the one that is going to be my front and back cover. Okay. And you know, I don't have any, but you know how scrapbooks and photo albums have like, well, we are just going to go ahead and score this and I will show you what I'm talking about. So I am using a score tool with a ruler today, not my scoreboard. So let's see how it goes here. Okay, and what I did was cut my cover piece. I left it folded in the middle, and I cut it so that it was a 1/2 inch wider than the Tim Holtz piece that I'm putting on top of it. And it looks like when in my cutting process, I got it slightly short. So when I glue that on, I'm going to come back and trim it to fit my cover. And with that, it's easy to do. It doesn't matter if I trim this down because there's no like set border around it. So that's how I'm doing my cover. And what I want to do is lay my ruler down at that 1/2 inch. And I'm using a roller scoring tool that I picked up. I don't even know what this is actually for, but my hope is that it will create a line here that we can use to fold on. And to do this, I would really hold down on my ruler. And this isn't working like I thought, and I didn't bring my scoreboard along. So, change of plans. We're going to use the manual method to fold these over, and it should still work okay. So, first of all, I'm going to glue my cover down here. And I'm just going to glue it so that we have a 1/2 inch edge on the left-hand side. It's going to be our spine. Until this has been put away. And I know my video is going up a day late, but I didn't get it loaded last night. So, here we are. And I didn't get it filmed, I'll be honest. I came home from my trip yesterday, and unfortunately I was exhausted, so I'm actually going to put up 2 videos for today so that I can catch up. And I'm just covering my piece completely to my edges with glue. And even if my edges are covered, I'll use, I'll wipe my scissors off when I'm done here. So I'm going to start this and match it up with my top edge, and then I'll trim it along the bottom. But I'm going to match it up with the top and this right hand edge that I have here. And then I'll trim it so that it fits well, and I'll use my corner rounder to round my corners. So let's get my scrapey thing here, and we'll really push it down with my scraper. Then I will trim it. And we can put pages in. Now, the brads are what is going to hold your pages in place. So that's why you do not need to sew them. And if you think about how scrapbooks, I don't know if they're still this way, but you know how they have that spine with the 2 metal pieces in it, and you remove the metal pieces to add your pages? That's kind of what I had in mind in creating these. I'm going to go ahead and even this up where that piece didn't quite tear right there. And it gave me a little piece hanging. There we go. Pull that off there. So now I have this for my little book. And I'm going to come back and do make sure all my corners are rounded. And I'm going to round them individual because I don't know that they'll both fit in here for one thing. And I don't know if I can do it with both. So let's get that clear down in there. Okay. That one. And that worked. Come along here. And we'll do the bottom one. Make sure it's back in all the way. Got it. I am not rounding the spine corners. So I want this to look kind of like a little composition book. But these are just little notebooks. You can either throw them in your bag, your purse. You can put more pages than I am. But my plan is to throw them in journals when I make them. So I'm just making some in advance, and I wanted to use neutrals that can really go in any journal. But also I went with the Tim Holtz pieces I had to cover to make the front covers with too. So now we have this. It kind of looks like that didn't round exactly how I wanted. So I'm going to come back, and neither one of the back ones did. Just going to kind of round it a bit with the scissors and make the front match it when I'm done. So I hope you all are getting in your craft rooms and crafting. It's getting warmer in the southern Ohio today. We are supposed to be up in the 60s weather later on this afternoon. Probably about the time it hits the good temperature, about 66, I think is what is predicted. When it's there, it'll be supper time and it'll be time for the sun to go down. That's how our days here are a lot of times. It started out this morning. I think we even had a frost warning this morning. Don't yet have any thing planted, so I didn't really think about it. We don't usually plant things around here until after Mother's Day in May anyway. So now I just want to pick a couple brads here that might match my spine. And I'm not, let's see, I see these kind of peachy corally ones here. I'm going to spill a few out on my desk here. And go ahead and pull, there's a very neutral color one. And kind of like this peachy color though. I'm going to get obviously not flowers, but I like that color on that particular. I mean, there's nothing wrong with flowers. I just didn't want to put flowers on here today. Let's see if these ones are too big for this. I don't know. All right, now we can dig through the pile and see what we got. All right, let's use this one and this one. Do these match? Nope, I'm gonna find one to match this one. It's this one and match it up with, this isn't it. They're almost orange peach, but, and maybe they are orange. I think these two will work. Oh. I think those two will work. Yes. So we're going to use those two. And I'm going to go ahead and pick out some for my others that I have laying here. I have a little buttony looking one. So let's see if I can find a second one of these. And there's number 2. So dropped it right in the middle. Where'd it go? All right, drop the button one. Here's 2 brassy looking ones. Here's one. And here's one. And then I want to use 2 of my squares, I believe. I'm using 2 brads per journal. There's one of those and one of those. And let's get 2 matching. Oh, here's the other button one. So we'll just go ahead and pull those out. And I'm going to put those there. What did I do? There's those. 2 brass ones. There's 1, 2 squares. And 1, 2 peachy colored ones. So let's get these, as many as we can, picked back up. You know, I guess I could divide these all out by color, but I don't have enough, and it just would take up too much space for storage, so I don't want to do that. I just have them. Now, if I have 100 or 50 or several of one brad, then I do separate them all out. I don't know, I kind of like these other pinkish ones. Oh well, we'll go with what I got. No, I think, I don't think any of those match laying there, but that's all right. We'll use what I got. I thought maybe I'd pull it out of there, but can't seem to see any that match. All right, there we go. We'll put those up here, and now we have our little brads ready to go. And these are pages I have for these two journals. I thought these were my pages for this. Okay, yes, they are. I've got one. I've got the cover. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and if I run out of pages, I'll just skip making one. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's what I want in each one, approximately 6. I did bring some pages along that have numbers, like some of my ledger pages and some things like that. And that one wasn't cut for this, so you will go in a different one. What about you? Were you cut for this one? Nope. Yep. Can't make up my mind. There we go. All right. And then we can trim any extras that we happen to have when we're done. So you just simply put your pages in. You want your pages to be long enough to go all the way back to your fold. You can use single-sided pages. You could use double-sided. It does not matter. You just want it to be long enough to go all the way back to this fold, because your brad has to go through them to hold your pages on there. Okay. I just brought along my needle, and I'm going to use something here and just kind of eyeball where I want them. And I want them to be the same from here as here. So let's just use my ruler. And let's bring it the width of the ruler from the top. And I'm going to put a mark here right in the center so that I know that's where I want to put that brad. And I didn't do a very good job of marking there. Let's try that again. I don't have a pencil here I could grab, but you could use your pen or pencil to mark it as well. I'm just going to score a little line on my paper. Yep, I can see it. You probably can't, but that's okay. I just need to see it so that I can okay. And while I'm doing that, I never thought that I could just come along here with this and score my spine. And that worked great. So now I have a place I have to start when I start folding it. All right, so I'm going to get one of my paper clips to hold everything in there. Then I'm going to use my pokey and poke it through, and we'll put the brads in to hold it together. I mean, these are simple to make. Here it is. Here's my mark. Right. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Now, I don't have anything on the end of this needle. So I got to be careful with my hand here. I'm just going to work it through a little at a time. Once it pierces through the front, it is a little bit easier to get it through the whole thing. I just have trouble gripping things, so this is the easiest way for me to do this. And that is just about through the other side. Yep, there it is. I just need enough to get my little brads in there. And where's the other? The other one's going right here. So I'm just going to play with it a little bit and just kind of get it in there. I'm moving the needle, but the point is staying in the same place. Almost got it through. Just want to, and depending on what you would use for your outside cover, that will make a difference. Okay. I have two other ways because there was two more different, another different way you can do this. And there are some of them that you can, that already have like a spine, what looks like a spine. So when we go to do those, I'll show you how to do them as well. All right, so there we have that. And if you wanted, you could, here's what I was thinking about with these, though these would not match this one. Putting these on and putting your brads through them with your notebooks. So that is an option as well, and then just folding it around back. Unfortunately, the ones I had picked out for this one, I have lost one. So let's go ahead and use the one I found, and then I'll put one on here without it, and I'll come back and find one when I'm done. So I'm going to go ahead and poke my hole through. This will also help to hide your brads on the back if you use these. So I'll show you how we can do that. So let's just simply, well, I got to make sure I know where that hole is, don't I? Let's put this, I got an idea. We're going to put that on the back where we want it to be. And I'm going to hold it in place and hang on. I'm going to paper clip it if I can to hold it. And then I'm going to poke so that I know where I want that hole to be in this piece. And I'm putting the front on the back temporarily so that I can get my hole poked in the right place. If I had been paying attention and remembered and found the other little piece that matches this, I would have done this a little differently, because you can use these to hide the backs of your brads very easily. So let's put it there. Let's get our hole where we want it for the front. Just going to go back through my already stuck hole and go through the little tab piece, but I want to hold that tab piece there so I got it on there right. And we just want it to kind of mark the tab. It doesn't even have to go all the way through. We just want to mark it so we got it. Yeah, okay, good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and put the hole through the front. Just slightly off center, but that's okay. It'll look good when you get it in there. All right, and then I'm going to take one of my brads, and we said we were going to use these, didn't I? So get both of them out of my little container here. So I'm going to get two of them. I'm going to go ahead and put it through the front of this and open the, no, don't open the things. Put it through the front of this. And it's going to go through the spine here to hold our pages together. Just call me fumble fingers today, I guess. But you know how it rolls here at the Paper Wheel Studio. All right, so now we have that. And we're going to go, hopefully, when I put it on here, it's going to match up good with this hole. We are going to put it through the hole, and then we're going to open up our brads. Just got to get it worked through there. There we go. It's all the way through. Push it all the way through, and I'm going to lay it down on my desk and then open up my little feet for my brad. And I'm going to turn the brad around this way so that when I open my little feet, they will be sideways. Okay. There we go. Okay. And then I'm going to get my glue, which I hope is not plugged up since I haven't used it for a while. Shouldn't be. It has a nice little thing down in my cap to keep it from clogging, but it didn't work. So let's try to get that dry part off here. And I'll get a needle out of my little drawer and I'll get it flowing. It's plugged up pretty good. Okay, are you gonna cooperate today, Mr. Glue Bottle? Gooey glue, Mr. Gooey. All right, get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. And we don't need the brad skin through on the back, so we're gonna, hopefully, get my glue flowing. We're gonna glue it down. Sometimes you get like little strings that will pull out. Ah, it's free. Okay, so we're going to put glue on there. And I'm going to glue it down. Then I'm going to go back to the front and glue it to the front of the little booklet. And for now, I'm going to put a paper clip on here to hold it down in the back. And then I will come back and glue the front of that once the back has had a chance to dry. Let's go ahead and put our brad in the bottom. Even though I don't have another matching tab, I will make one. Those are die cuts. I can easily make one. Or we can brown up one of these others and use it. So for now, though, I'm just going to simply put my brad in. If I don't keep dropping it. Let's make my hole just slightly bigger with my pen here. I'm going to use my straight pen to go through and just kind of make it a little bit bigger so my brad will fit better. There we go. And you can punch these with a small hole punch if you wanted. I didn't want to mess with hole punch, so here I am. Almost got it. It's going through. I didn't stencil on my spine before I put this together, and so for this one I'm probably not going to, but that is an option. I'm going to go ahead and just open this. If you wanted to simply, if you didn't have any way to use tabs, you could simply put a piece of washi tape down the back. You could even put it across the front to decorate this. Put your tab through, open your brads, and put another piece down the back very easily. Okay, we got that one in there. And I'm just going to leave it as is so I can come back and add a tab at a later date. And you know what? I think I'm just going to put a little bit of glue under this one, just right here, to just kind of hold that over so it can't spin around any on the tab. So I'm just squirting a little tiny bit of glue under there. And grab a rag here and just wipe off the excess. There'll end up a lot of excess there, and that will hold that in place so that it will not be sliding around. So that is the first one. Now we have, now these are going to bend here because you're going to have a little spine in your notebook. So you want to just kind of work that. I scored it there, so I ended up with a good place. here, and that isn't quite glued, so it's wanting to fold over. Use my thumbnail there and just score that piece and leave it there. And then we've got our little notebook with neutral colored pages in the notebook. And see why you don't have to have them folded over. You can just have single sheets. And I do have, oh, that page got put in upside down. But it's not really neutral. I was just trying to use it up. So we'll come along and fix that. We're just going to pull that one out. And I'll use that scrap somewhere else. So I have a little small notebook to put in a journal or to write in. So there you go. We've got that one. And I'm going to stick this back down. Once that glues, that will be easier to fold right there. Should you want to use your tabs, you've got that. If you wanted to trim your tabs, you can also trim them there, but I'm going to lay that aside. Once that dries, I think that will work just fine for that. So we've got one made. A little bit easier. This one's going to be done slightly differently. So let me pull pages here. I know I had more pages for this one. Let's see. I think maybe, were you supposed to be with that? Who knows? Actually, I think all of these, nope, those are for the smaller one. All of these two bigger pieces go in the bigger one. So and you are for the bigger one. These go for this little one. That's what happened to them. They got folded under there. All right, so you go back under there. You stay. You'll stay. And these others. So I'm going to just use one of these white ones because that'll make it a little thick. You don't want it, unless you use very long brads, you don't want it to be too thick. So this piece of cardstock, it's a Tim Holtz with numbers, and it's red on the back, so I thought that would go good with this piece. And I cut it exactly 1 inch from my spine. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my ruler. Since I don't have my scoreboard, we'll use the needle. That worked out very well for the other one. And I'm going to score this at 1/2 inch approximately. That's the part that's going to fold over to the front and be stuck down to hold our pages in. Did I score it good? Probably not. Okay, now I'm just going to fold my edge over. I didn't do too bad. Because I want it to be a nice, except for when I get down here, but I can go ahead and fold that piece and get that down good. And I'm going to really press down on it. You can use your bone folder. Sometimes I end up using my fingers because it's a little easier for me. And Tim Holtz cardstock is very good to distress. You can see how that's wearing right there, but that would be fine. If you are concerned these would come apart, you could put washi tape down your spine, but it is not necessary. Okay. Now, what was I thinking here? Oh, yes, this is what I was thinking. This is going... Did I get the right piece of cardstock for this one? Yes, I did. This is going like this, and that's going to be glued down on the very first sheet, and then we'll come along and trim my back off here. But that's what I have. So I'm going to lay this aside, because this is going to be where our papers are going under this spine. And I'm going to grab my papers here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pretty sure these are the ones for this. Now I'm confusing myself again. No, they're not. I've done something different here. And I don't even know what I've done. Okay, we're going to make these work. Because I really don't know what happened to the other ones. So we'll make this work and we'll trim them off as they go. And we'll put these with the other one that I have over there to show you. All right. Where is my little bone foldy scrapey thingy, my bobby here? All right. Looks funky right there, but once I come along with my inks, that will take care of that. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this page up a bit here. My pages look slightly crooked there, but might just be the way I got them laying. That kept wanting to fold up there on me, so I'm just trimming it. It doesn't matter what this looks like because it's going in the spine and you're not going to see it anyway. Alright, so then I have this piece. Again, that's going to need some more trimming. But let's put this one in. And I have this piece can go inside this. And we'll put our numbers as our first piece. Make sure nothing's upside down. Everything's where I want it. And then I'm going to paper clip it. And I'm just going to put my paper clip across where I have my spine. And with this one, I am going to use this extra piece of paper because we need a paper to glue our piece down on. And I don't want to mess up the, I don't know why I cut that. I cut it a ½ inch too big, didn't I? Don't ask me why. I don't have an answer. Okay, let's put this one on the outside. That will work good because I want to keep my numbers for the inside. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll put this one right here, and that will make it a couple more pages. Okay. Somehow I was thinking I needed 1 inch for the front and 1 inch for ½ inch for the front, ½ inch for the back. I don't know why I did it that way. Okay, now I'm lined up good. So I'm going to put my paper clip on here. And now would be the time before you put your brads through, if you wanted to do anything, any kind of stencil. Let me put my paper clip off to the side a bit. If you wanted to do any stenciling on your spine, now would be the time to do it. So I'm going, because I'm not using tabs for the spine on this, I'm going to come along with my stencil here, and I'm going to get my, let's see, which one of these? Let's just use this one right here. And I'm going to come along with my walnut stain ink and my dauber. I'll spray my walnut stain because it just seems to work better for me when I do that. I'm just giving it just a tiny little squirt. And I'm going to get my dauber all inked up here good. And I'm going to just ink the edge of my spine here. It is that dark red, so I want to make sure I had a lot of, and it won't matter if I get it on this first page here because it is going to be covered with the cardstock piece. So let's just see. We just kind of try that. It slipped on me a little bit, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. For me, that was a big thing, to make things that then were not so perfect. All right, so that gave me a little bit along my spine there just to kind of spruce it up. I think I need a little bit more there toward the top, so let's get another little row of numbers here. And I'm just going to rub a little bit more on here. Lay my stencil aside so I can clean it. Yeah, that gave me some more. And I'm going to go ahead and ink down the edge of my spine where that is. Yeah, just kind of grunge that up where it did that. And just ink down the spine. Okay. Then I'm going to come along with my piece here. And we're going to go ahead and glue it down. When I find my glue stick that I left the cap off of and it has run away from me. Here it is. Runaway things today. Nobody wants to craft in my craft room. They're all telling me I don't want to do this. Why do you make me? And this is what happens when you leave the cap off your glue. So I get it going here. Help me remember to get that cap back on. And I get this done. Let's get you out of there, Mr. Scrap. You're getting in my way. And from the ink on my fingers, the glue is getting very inky where I put it down. But that's okay. Just want to get this nice and covered. We're going to put it on the top here. Yep, we're going to just put it right up through as close to the other piece here as I can. I'm matching them up there because they're going to fold at that. I do not want them to overlap. I just want them close but not overlapping. Okay. Perfect. And I'm going to leave that little edge there. Make sure I'm fairly straight. Straighten it up a bit. Yeah, that's not in there straight, so we're going to straighten that a bit. There we go. Yes, there we go. And then I'm going to come along and put glue on my edge and glue it down. Just right along this edge to hold it over for now. Okay, there we go. Now I got that. And I'm just going to pick out two of my brads from over here. Where did one of my paper clips? Oh, it's still on there. That's where it went. Let me cover my glue here so I don't make the same mistake I made last time. And I probably should cover this as well. And I will see which brads we can put on this one. Either the brassy ones or maybe the black ones that I picked out would look really cool on here. Let's do the black ones. Did I do two sets of black ones or only one? Nope, I did one set. So we're going to use these black ones. Have a little bit longer legs, so maybe I won't have a hard time putting them in. We want to make sure the papers are all back in there. Take this paper clip off here. We want to make sure they're all down in the spine. Okay, and I'll straighten my cover once I get my brads in. Then I'm going to put this across here, and we're going to make some holes, and we're only going to get 2 of these done, folks, because I am now at 50 minutes. So I'm going to show you the last one here. Okay, I'm going to skip doing the brads. I think I got a little crooked, but that's okay. We'll fix it here. I'm just going to leave it as is because I don't want to mess the whole notebook up. So you would make your holes here and put brads in. I will do that and come back and show you after I've done that offline. But let me show you the last way online here to put one of these together. Okay, you have this piece here already has a spine here from the Tim Holtz. I cut a back piece to go with it. I'm going to put the 2 together. That's going to be my cover, and then I am going to fold this, work it so I can fold it right here on the spine, and that's where my spine will be for this little notebook. It's not one to fold straight there. So it's got an almost looks like a fold in it already. So let me see if I lay my ruler down, if I can get my score where I can, this will fold much easier for me. I hope that I went fairly straight with that. Yes, I did. So I'm going to try to find it here and bring my fold back. Yeah, there it is. And then I've created my own little fold over spine here that will hold the brads and it will hold the papers together. There we go. And you would put your back, I already still have, my back's laying there. You do not need to score the back of the notebook, just the papers going into it. And most of mine are fairly flexible enough to just bend over. So I'm good with that. I'm going to go ahead and fold this in this way, just to make sure that that's, and I need my, I folded it slightly crooked. So let's lay that up there so I don't drop it. Probably already dropped the other one. But I just want to show you how this one goes together, and then I'll finish those offline and I'll come back on and show you at the end. Okay. Now, so far we've got that. And what we're going to do is put our papers in here. Then I am going to put my brads in. They go right. One would go right in. One would go about right here. And one would go about right here. And that will hold all your papers into this journal. Or mini notebook. I keep calling it a journal because it looks so much like one, but it's actually going to be a little mini notebook. So I'm going to go offline, go ahead and get these put together, and then I will come back on and show you what they look like, because I'm already at 54 minutes and I definitely don't like to go over an hour. So I will be back in a bit and I'll show you what I finally finished and came up with. Alright guys, I'm back. Tried to clean up a little bit here while I was off camera because I just have so much stuff, had so many things on my desk here. I didn't get them all inked, but I will go ahead and do that here and show you what I've got and remind you how we did these. I have a little mini inker here that I got. So I'm just using my mini inker because I dropped my bigger inker. Now that I thought was mistrimmed, but it actually is the bottom of my cardstock. So I'm just going to ink on there and make that darker. Ink this side up good. I'm just inking all the way around it because I like ink. If you don't like ink, no need to ink for sure. And I just use a piece of tape on the back to cover up my brad pieces. And I put my washi tape down with glue. I didn't quite get that piece off there good, but I'll just trim it with my scissors here. Apparently sanding it did work real well. And see how my washi tape's kind of bowing up there and there? I'm going to take my glue and stick just a little tiny bit of glue down in there to hold that washi tape down all the way so it won't come up. Alright, come on. I had a straight pen in you. Why are you being stubborn? Probably not a lot in this, I don't think. And it was kind of gluing up around my straight pen. Alright. I haven't used this little one for a little while, but it's good because I can get into really tight little places when I need to add just a tiny, weensy, tiny little bit of glue. Alright, there we go. So we came up with this one, and I hinged it. Didn't hinge it. I scored the card so that would fold over like that. And then you've got your booklet, the back cover. Remember, you don't have to fold it unless you want to. But you could just, after you get your little booklets made and get your papers in them, you can just come along with each page and just kind of fold it open and press it down more. So we're just kind of training the paper which way it needs to go. I was going to do 5, but I finished up 4. So we've got, of course, this one. So that's how you would train your paper. Just press it down, you know, as you go. And there really is no center on these little notebooks because of how you've got it bound, or how I bound it together with the brads along the edge. Let's put my cover back on my ink and my pen back in my glue as I go here. And I'll show you the others that I did. And I did find my little tab while I was off camera, so I went ahead and replaced the piece there. Now, for some reason, my back piece, well, when I do that, it doesn't do it. So, I'm going to let that washi dry all the way, and I may go ahead and I said you didn't have to score the back piece, but I might, just so I can straighten this little guy up slightly. Because he looks great from the front, but you look at him from the back, and it looks a little bit uneven. So, I'm going to let him completely dry, and then I'll straighten him up. So, I have one, and I just put a couple number stickers on it, since this is numbers. I could come back and stencil some numbers on this, which I may do later, depending on what journal I'm putting it in. And then I have this little book here that says alphabet. These are 2 tabs that I just simply cut the straight part down that normally glues down and save the round part and put my brads through. I didn't ink them, but I can go back with my little inker and ink these up a little bit. Oh yeah, they're small enough and my dauber's small enough I can get right in there with my ink and give them some ink. So we have that one as well. And I really like how this one turned out. Remember this one? The hinge is actually, the cover's glued down onto a piece of paper. And your hinge is really the piece of paper. So you want to be careful when you fold it over that you don't have happen what I just did and your page's edges come apart. If you need to, I did not, I did glue this down with glue stick, but I will probably come back along and make a better score mark right off of this piece, or trim that up or glue it a little bit so that matches up a little better. So I have that one. This piece that created my spine is part of my back piece, and I put washi tape down here through here like I did the other one to cover the backs of my brads. And then I have this one, which I did like, this is the very first one, and I just found my other brown tab, inked it up a bit. I didn't stamp anything on it. I just put it there. I could always come back when I get my stamps out and add stamping to that. So we came up with 5 neutral number notebooks. I hope y'all enjoyed my video, and stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some experimenting with some mediums that I've never used at all. Maybe I did when I was a kid in school, but not as an adult. So join me in my next video, and you all have a great evening. I hope you enjoyed making these little notebooks. Bye for now.